As someone with huge arms myself, I can tell you that 99% of arm training advice on the internet is absolute garbage and will limit your arm growth potential. Fuck your arm day, fuck your high volume, and fuck your fluff and pump work. This video will be the last video you will ever have to watch if you want to get 20-inch fucking arms as a natural lifter. Why the fuck is an arm day suboptimal if it is specifically designed for you to bring up your arms? It is very simple. Adding an arm day or even doing an Arnold split where you have 2 arm days within a week literally kills your ability to train your arms with a high frequency, which is detrimental. Did you know that 3 sets per workout done 3 times per week gives you almost triple the stimulus and therefore muscle growth compared to 9 sets done 1 time per week? Now let's go even further. Even just 1 fucking set per workout done 3 times per week still gives you more stimulus than 9 sets done 1 time per week. How the fuck could that be? Does more volume and an arm day equal more arm gains? No, because the first set of a given workout for a specific muscle group gives you the best possible stimulus you can get out of that workout. And you need to add 5 more additional sets just to match the stimulus of the first set. You will essentially be doing 6 sets just to, in actuality, get the stimulus of 2 sets. There's a clear point of diminishing returns when it comes to in-session volume and the amount of stimulus you can get with that volume in a specific workout. And on top of that, every additional set that you do for your arms specifically now gives you much more muscle damage and therefore fatigue compared to the growth you're getting. You will essentially be shooting in your foot if you are spamming arm days and spamming the volume to bring your arms up. Now the second benefit of training with a higher frequency and ditching the arm day completely is that with high frequency training, you're reducing the time you spend in atrophy. You're not constantly growing throughout your entire workout week, but after workout, you get a sudden spike in growth stimulus or muscle growth, and after a few days after the workout, atrophy kicks in. And we want to minimize the time you spend in atrophy because you want to maximize the muscle growth, which means that adding an arm day to your workout, spamming the volume on that, will not significantly boost your arm gains due to the amount of recovery time you need after that arm day to see progressive overload occurring without overly fatiguing and overtraining yourself, which means that if you slightly reduce the volume and train with a higher frequency, we're essentially, whenever the atrophy period kicks in, hitting a muscle again, which means that we are barely spending any time in that atrophy period and we are almost constantly in the growth state. So the idea of adding an arm day to your program or even doing an Arnold split where you have 2 fucking arm days within a week is a good fucking idea in theory, as exercises at the start of the workout give you the best possible stimulus as you are in a fresh state, which means that motor unit recruitment and mechanical tension are maximized in a fresh state, which is the case with an arm day. You're getting into the gym, blasting your arms only without doing any chest or back compound, which could limit your growth if you're just tackling your arms at the end of a push or pull session. But as I said, it is only a good idea in theory. Enter the push-pull full body split. You're training your chest, shoulders, triceps and quads on the push day, your lats, upper back, rear delts, biceps and posterior chain on the pull day, which means that you can essentially program it in a way which will give you an arm day every day fucking program, as you can train your triceps and biceps on the respective day at the start of the session, giving you the benefit of prioritizing the arms like in an arm day, but with the additional benefit of a higher frequency and also giving you the best possible stimulus for the triceps and biceps as they have their own respective training day. Anecdotal experiences have confirmed that contrary to popular belief, you can do your arm work before your chest and back compounds, which will not hinder your ability to train your chest and back effectively and progress those lifts over time, as arm training is mostly isolation based, which means that it will not significantly take away the performance that you can get on your chest and back movements. If you flip the script, it would not work the other way around, as chest and back training is much more systemically fatiguing, as it is mostly compound based, which means that your arm training will take a hit if you just tackle it at the end of the session. Now, after we've established the base of a program, let's get rid of your limiting belief that you should train your arms with high reps and fluff and pump work bullshit. I train all my arm movements in the 4 to 8 rep range. And yes, even preacher curls, which is due to the stimulating reps model, which states that the last 5 reps to failure give you the best possible stimulus. Now, the problem with doing high reps, which means anything over 10 reps, it literally prevents you from actually reaching muscular failure, as you reaching muscular failure is not your body or muscles actually failing and falling almost off the bone, but it is your perception of effort which limits your ability to further recruit your muscle fibers and therefore further push the set. Now, when you compare the perception of effort of high reps compared to low reps, when you're doing high reps, the perception of effort is much higher due to the additional cardiovascular fatigue, the crippling burning sensation, which happens due to the lactate buildup in your muscles, which literally prevents you from actually reaching true possible muscular failure. Compared to high reps, low reps have a much lower perception of effort, as there is almost no cardiovascular fatigue and also burning sensation present while you're doing low reps with heavy weights. On top of that, contrary to popular belief, your arms are one of the most easily damaged muscle groups in your entire body, which means that we want to maximize the stimulus to fatigue ratio. And what is the most fatiguing programming variable besides junk volume? Exactly, junk reps. The data is very clear that high rep sets cause much more fatigue and will increase your recovery time between workouts, and therefore not see maximal possible progressive overload occurring, which is the number one sign of muscle growth occurring. Even if your program was perfectly designed, like literally perfectly, but you're spamming high rep arm work, 10, 15, 20 fucking reps on every single fucking set, you will greatly limit your arm growth potential. If you're interested to maximize your natural fucking potential, make sure to check out my one-to-one coaching services on my website, get an arm specialization program which is specifically designed for you, or check out my pre-made arm specialization programs for any type of split you can think of. Check the links in the description and also comments down below. As I said, your perception of effort will dictate how close to actual true muscular failure you can push your sets, which means that we want to rest adequately between our sets to stimulate maximum growth while we are doing our sets. You don't ever want to go into the next set while still feeling exhausted, cardiovascularly challenged, or having a massive fucking pump from the previous set, as this, just like the higher reps, will increase your perception of effort in your set and therefore will limit your ability to push your set to true muscular failure. For bilateral, which means dual arm work, I would rest for 3 to 5 minutes between sets, and for unilateral work, which means doing a single arm movement, I would rest for 90 seconds up to 3 minutes between sets. Not every exercise is created equal. A simple dumbbell curl, dumbbell overhead extension will not give you the best possible stimulus. But what even makes an exercise optimal? It loads the muscle where it has the best leverage, it is stable, it is progressible, it is a unilateral exercise, which means you can get more stimulus on a set per set basis, and lastly, enjoyment. If you don't actually enjoy your exercises, you will not push yourself to the max. Let's start with the triceps. For the long head of the triceps, you want to pick exercises with your arms beside your body, as the long head has the best leverage there, and focus on pure elbow extension. Great fucking exercises for this are the incline long rope pushdown. The long rope allows you to keep your arms beside your body, as you would hit your fucking nuts if you would try to do that with a bar. And incline bench gives you maximum stability, which takes out other muscle groups from balancing on space, meaning that motor unit recruitment in the target muscle is increased, which will therefore get you better stimulus. The single arm pushdown. It is essentially the single arm version of the long rope pushdown, which means that you can get a better stimulus on a set per set basis, as muscle activation levels are increased when you're doing a single arm movement. To make your setup even more stable and therefore get more stimulus, you can brace your arms against the cable station. The crossbody extension. This is just like the rope pushdown, a great way to keep your arms beside your body, but the crossbody extension has the benefit of loading both arms individually and also better joint alignment, which is best utilized when you have cracky fucking elbows. Make sure that if you're doing these exercises, that you choose a setup which makes the exercises mid-range biased, as the long head has the best leverage in that position, which simply means that your forearm and the cable pulley should create a 90-degree angle halfway throughout your elbow extension range of motion. To hit the lateral medial head as effectively as possible, you want to combine elbow extension with shoulder flexion, because this disengages the long head from doing any work, as it suffers from antagonistic inhibition, as the long head shortens at the elbow joint while lengthening at the shoulder joint. This means that the lateral and medial head are doing most of the work, as the long head isn't activated, which means that they can get all the stimulus. Great exercise options are the JM press, weighted dips, and also the dip machine. If you can, make sure to band these exercises and also add chains, as the lateral and medial head have the best leverage in the shoulder position, which means that we want to make the lockout as heavy as fucking possible while performing these exercises. And no, the long head of the triceps does not benefit from any overhead work, as overhead extensions actually bias the lateral and medial head of the triceps, But before ditching them because they're not optimal for long head gains, I have spammed these into the oblivion and I have a meaty fucking long head. So if you don't want to completely listen to the science and be sure that you're getting your long head as fucking jacked as possible, you can do push downs with your arms beside your body and overhead extensions on top of that, instead of incorporating GM presses and dips to your program. As in the best case scenario, you would grow your long head as maximally as possible, and in the worst case scenario, you would just bias your lateral media head with the overhead extension, which would essentially replace the GM press type movements. To grow your biceps as maximally as possible, you want to of course choose an exercise where your hands are supinated, but make sure that you're only picking exercises that have the most tension in a lengthened position, as the biceps have the best leverage there. The absolute GOAT of all bicep exercises in my opinion is the preacher curl. You could do it with a machine if it is lengthened biased, but most machine preacher curls are more so short and biased. If that is the case, just do them with a dumbbell or easy bar. The preacher curl gives you maximum stability due to the arms laying on a pad and therefore maximum stimulus. Do them bilaterally, unilaterally and spam them into the fucking oblivion. The only other contender for the best bicep exercise of all time would be the Bayesian curl, in theory only, because the Bayesian curl is fucking awkward to execute correctly. Now to bias the brachialis, you want to use a neutral hand position and also choose a lengthened bias exercise, which literally means that you can just further spam preacher curls, but with a neutral arm position. Again, you can use a machine, dumbbells, bilateral, unilateral, just spam them into the fucking oblivion. To bias the brachioradialis, every type of curl, which is short and biased, like in a normal dumbbell curl, will bias it more compared to the other elbow flexors. Now to further increase the muscle activation levels of the brachioradialis, you want to use a more neutral to pronated hand position. The best exercise options here would be any type of reverse grip curl with a dumbbell or cable, or a hammer curl, again with a dumbbell or cable. We have now discussed the split, high frequency training, low rep ranges, the best possible exercise you can use, but how the fuck do you program all of this into a good fucking program? Make sure to only pick 1 or 2 exercises per session, put them at the very start of the workout as I said, and perform 1 to 2 sets per exercise per session. Utilize as much single arm work as time allows for maximum possible stimulus. Here is a sample program of the push-pull full body split of just the arm portion of the workout, which covers all your bases in terms of exercise selection, volume, and also muscle biasing. The only thing left that stands between your current spaghetti arm self and your future 20-inch arm self is that you get stupid strong and double your strength over the next few years, and you'll be fucking assured that you will reach your goal.